All right, I can't believe what I'm about to say, but I can believe what I'm about to say. I know that sounds stupid, but I'm stupid. So, Kamala Harris, there are a lot of rumors, which means she's already thinking about it, that she's running again. That she's going to run again in 2028. That unlikable hag is going to give it another run. And I don't understand these people. These people get so in love with politics in the limelight. I'll never get it. Anyway, maybe she'll win. She might be the nominee with all the fruitcakes they have in that party. Joining me now, Alexis Wilkins, host of Between the Headlines on Rumble, and Brianna Lyman, elections correspondent at The Federalist. I love her election coverage. Okay, Alexis, let's start with you. If I was as historically unpopular as Dome and I just lost $1 billion on a disastrous presidential run, I would maybe do something else?
Yes, I think any regular person or any sane person, rather, would consider maybe downsizing the concept of their campaign at least. I mean, if not get out of politics, you wasted $1 billion. Maybe, consider the California governor position or literally anything else besides the Oval Office. The American people thought that Kamala Harris was widely unlikable, even people in her own party. And I think it's just a testament to how empty the bench is for them. They've spent an entire couple of decades just propping people up. And now they're really, reaping what they sowed, because they don't have anyone to put up there that they don't have to install.
Brianna, you were all over this election. I was following all your stuff on social. So maybe you can break this down for me. I know why I don't like Dome. I'm pretty sure I understand, or at least I have an idea of why you two would not like her. But Democrats like anybody they're handed in general, do they not? I mean, you could hand those people a crap sandwich and they'll tell you how delicious it is. Why did they hate Kamala Harris so much?
Well, I think that they're willing to go to great lengths to defend members of their own party if need be. The Democratic Party, though, does not like Kamala Harris. When Joe Biden announced he was running, I believe it was Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, who behind the scenes were thinking she was not going to be the best candidate for Democrats to run. Unfortunately, Joe Biden kind of shivved them and immediately endorsed her, so it would have been hard to replace her. When we talk about the fact that she may run for president again, I think it's better for her to run for governor, and I say it because of this. The one thing that people who run for presidency multiple times, Donald Trump, 2016, 2020, 24, the one thing he has that Kamala did not have from 2020 to 2024 is momentum. He was able to expand his base. His movement only grew stronger. Kamala Harris doesn't have that. And if you don't have that, you cannot successfully run a campaign. So if she becomes governor, she will be able to say she was successful in California because they're so far left. And that will also give her time to distance herself from her administration and give her a real shot in, 2032?
Okay, so if it's not going to be Dome in 2028, who's on the bench? I would say Josh Shapiro, Brianna, but he has a Jewish problem with this new Democrat Party that seems to hate Jews. Who's it going to be?
Yeah, I'm happy you said Josh Shapiro, not Gavin Newsom, because I think the conventional wisdom is that it would be Gavin. But Gavin is highly unpopular within his own state. They've seen a high amount of exodus. Josh Shapiro tries to bill himself as a moderate, and I think that right now the media has gone along with it. But I do think if he was to throw his hat in the ring, conservative media would take the necessary steps to show that he is not a moderate. This man is a far leftist. He sat by while Bob Casey just tried to steal the Senate race. He did nothing about that. That's not a moderate candidate. That's a far left activist.
The LGBTQ plus, I don't know, I'm too old. I lost track of all the stupid letters and things like that they're using now. It's something that has become a millstone around the neck of the communists in this country, and they don't seem to be able to let it go. Senator Duckworth was on TV. This is what she said.
We have issues here in this country, and yet she's worried about one member of Congress using the bathroom. Number one, I think her position is disgusting and wrong, but I also think that we have a lot more to worry about than where somebody goes to pee.
Alexis, this issue, this general issue, it's not popular. It didn't resonate with the voters. One of the most popular ads Trump ran was that ad about Dome wanting to buy tranny surgeries for all the prisoners. This is not a good issue for them, yet they don't appear to be able to let it go.
No, and this is the thing. This is exactly why they lost. They continue down these issues that are too woke for even the woke. I have friends who voted, for Joe Biden in 2020 and have been historically pretty leftist. And they even arrived at the 2024 conclusion of we went too far left. And these issues and these ideologies that are just being shoved down people's throats, even the left is tired of it. And they're picking these very, very niche issues. At the end of the day, the trans thing, it's a good talking point and a good headline if you want to make a big deal out of it and a big fit out of it. But at the end of the day, it's not going to win elections. It doesn't garner voters, especially not in the same way that the economy and illegal immigration and national security can. And they just keep going down this same path, even post-election. And so it makes me wonder, about their empty bench, about their empty ideology. I saw some tweets that were saying, hey, I'm going to start gathering people together, Scott Presler style, on the left, that is, because that seemed to work. I think that the left, who has been traditionally, thought of as more grassroots, has completely lost their grassroots ideals and their grassroots, even concepts to know what their voting base cares about, especially when we're all paying left or right for the same groceries and the same economy that is totally train wrecked. So I think that they're just continuing down this path, and until they correct it, they're not going to go anywhere with it.
I'm actually glad you brought up their messaging. Alec Baldwin, there's a little video floating around online. Alec Baldwin, well, here he is talking about how uninformed we are.
There's a hole, there's a vacuum. There is a gap, if you will, in information for Americans. Americans are very uninformed about reality, what's really going on. With climate change, Ukraine, Israel, you name it, all the biggest topics in the world, Americans have an appetite for a little bit of information. That vacuum is filled by the film industry.
Brianna, I've found their messaging on everything, the economy, everything, to be so snobbish, cold. I'm not even sure what word I want to put on that because I went to community college. But they kept telling people there's no inflation, the economy's doing good, the border's fine, it's all your imagination, you're just a moron, Thanksgiving doesn't cost more. Look, even if they actually believed that, they used to be smart enough to not say it.
Yeah, and here what Alec Baldwin said at the end. He said that vacuum is being filled or has to be filled by Hollywood. Americans resoundingly rejected on November 5th the idea that the Hollywood apparatus, the left-wing pundits, would set the narrative for the American public, and that they had the ability to gaslight the American public about the state of the economy, for example. And I think it was CNN that came out and recently said, X is more emblematic of the state of this country. And on X, we see people saying the economy actually isn't that great. Things aren't so great. Bill Clinton recently said that one of the problems the Democrats had this election cycle is they spoke down to voters and said, the economy's good and you better believe it. And so what the left is talking about, what Alec Baldwin basically says, is that they don't like that they've now lost control and they've lost the ability to set the narrative. I think that's also why you see a push to target Elon Musk and X, because they need to regain these different channels to regain their control on the American public.
Alexis, real quick, are we going to get any kind of a bounce back in the media world? I should say the Hollywood world, because that's your world, the whole actors and actresses and singers and fancy people stuff. They've all been a bunch of commie dirtballs for so long, but it seems like they're being more willing now to be open and vocal about that. Sylvester Stallone's giving speeches at Mar-a-Lago. Is your industry turning it around at all?
I do feel optimistic that they're starting to understand that doesn't reach people or voters or even just people who are consuming the media. But we're still seeing the same pushes. These people, it's not that they've been given orders and they're just executing orders. They really do think that they're better than the American people, which is why, even though I'm in music, it's not really the world I fit in with. It's an elitist group of people who push their ideals, and they're doing it from their 30,000-foot view. As we just saw Alec Baldwin say, he's basically calling the average American voter and media consumer stupid. I mean, that's effectively what he's saying. And at the end of the day, on November 5th, we learned that the American people don't like being spoken down to. They don't like the elitists. They don't like being called stupid. We don't like when Mark Cuban says that women are weak and dumb. People come back from that with what they actually believe. And I think that that's what's happening. And if we see any kind of, alternate people wanting to speak up, I think that will be met with positivity, because the people who came out against President Trump and called the American people stupid, it's not going to go well for them trying to gain that audience back. And frankly, even just watching this clip of Alec Baldwin, it doesn't seem like that's what they're willing to do, because honestly, I think that they have their hands too dirty within the entertainment industry. But that's just my opinion. You know, they're kind of at the neck here.
Mark Cuban's a confusing person for me. He's a billionaire, and that hair, the dye job is so bad. Just shave it, Mark. Look at me. I just let it go. You got to let it go. Everyone knows that's a dye job, Mark. Ladies, thank you. Come back soon. I appreciate it. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.